Oh, hello. That's not really how I speak, and I'm not one of those lawyers who's all pompous and unapproachable, as you've hopefully gathered. So I hope in this episode 10, I will dispel that myth of us barristers being inaccessible, when in actual fact, we're very directly accessible. I'm going to now try and summarize for you what I have been talking about in this series. And the first thing I spoke about was the access to free legal advice. Make sure you always remember to try and get free legal advice by different means. And I've gone into more detail in episode 1. And then I moved on to talk about choosing the right barrister for you, choosing the right lawyer for you, whether you want a solicitor or a barrister. And one of the things I will emphasize is that just always make sure that you give correct instructions, and instructions mean the way in which you give your case across to the actual barrister. One thing I would like to add is that throughout the process of being instructed as a direct access barrister, the client remains as something called litigant in person, which means they are representing themselves on paper. So all of the correspondence they write to the court or the other side or whatever it might be will mean that they are representing themselves by this term called litigant in person, unless they hire the barrister to conduct the litigation, which was another term I discussed earlier, which is the conduct of the case, a bit like what the solicitor would do. So these are all key terms: instructions, conduct of litigation, litigants in person, that you need to be aware of if you are going to be hiring a direct access barrister. So in summary, what are the key things that you need to look for? You need to look for a barrister that's approachable. You need to find somebody who you can get on with. Remember, they're not your friend. They are there to give you legal advice. It's always good to find somebody who's personable, have somebody who can make light of certain heavy situations, because there will be dark days in litigation, and I will guarantee there will be dark days. It's just the nature of the game. You know, if you like to laugh, maybe have somebody with a bit of a sense of humor who's a little bit quirky, somebody like me who is a little bit different, I would say, and that helps clients sometimes, and it helps clients diffuse certain situations. But if you want somebody very serious, go for somebody serious. So the choice factor is very, very important of who you go with. All of these factors added together will make you make an informed decision about who you go with. But more importantly, in the whole process, what you've got to remember is direct access suitable for you? And one thing you then also need to remember is direct access a service which will suit you throughout? Because sometimes what happens is that as we are instructed, we feel as barristers that the service that we're giving on a direct access basis may not be suitable for the client anymore. So for example, if you do need assistance, and for example, if you are conducting the litigation yourself and you are writing all the letters yourself and somebody's supporting you in the family, but they can no longer support you and you're left alone, that means you may not be able to conduct the litigation yourself. And you may ask the barrister if they want to offer that extra service, and if they don't, then you may have to go to a solicitor. Or it may not be in your interest, because sometimes what happens is that people have written letters alone, and they can make the case go a little bit wrong because they just don't receive the legal advice or take the legal advice that they're given. So what I'm trying to say is you've got to remember that there are prospects that the barrister may also withdraw from your case because they feel that your case is better if it goes to a solicitor. So all this terminology that I've explained throughout the whole 10 episodes, I hope has been useful. Please stay tuned, because I will be back with much more educational information. I love educating. I've taught in schools, colleges, university level. And one thing I love to do is make sure I explain the law, because I think a lot of people do not get explained what certain things mean. And with my clients, I'm very hot on the fact that they need to understand the words that pop up in litigation, because if they don't know what they mean, how do they know what they're dealing with? So thank you for listening. I'm very, very grateful to you, and I'm sure you will enjoy listening to many more. I hope you will enjoy listening to many more. What I will say finally is please share your comments with me in the comments box, and also email me on me@hareshsood.com and ask me any questions you would have on the subject. And if you are students even who want to ask me questions, you're welcome. If you're potential clients who want to know about certain aspects of what I've discussed, please by all means contact me. Or if you're not sure just simply about something, ask me, because one of the key things is you must ask. If you're going to instruct any direct access barrister or even me, you must ask what you want to know. Thank you and goodbye.